A young girl, Adani, looks back on her past. Another planet whose sun is about to explode. Adani's father had taught her that the universe is protected by one omnipotent god. He taught her to pray and that their life should be one of subservience. Devote your entity to the one true and redemption would be your reward. The problem is, of course, that redemption, like an omnipotent god, does not exist. On the planet, Adani's father, a religious leader, preaches to his flock that this is not a time of fear, but of gratitude. To be thankful that the one true has provided them with the opportunity to show piety. Adani's father is a priest who, as a child, left the Universal Church of Truth. After learning that the church conquered whole planets, offering their people only salvation or death. Two men bring a man who has tried to flee. He would defy the will of the one true, Adani's father demands. The young man spits back. Does the one true want them all to die? The one true he believes in would not demand they let their children burn. Adani's father hits him in the face with a stick. Adani thinks that after the death of her mother, her father's life was ruled by fear, manifesting a hatred for anything he could not explain by faith. If they run when the one true calls for them, they are not worthy. He admonishes, turning to his frightened daughter. He smiles and announces, whether the path is paved with flowers or ash, they will walk it together. As he orders his flock to pray, the pillars surrounding them crumble and are about to crush them. The flock panics as I, surrounded by phoenix fire, appeared in the sky. Adani's father shouts at me, accusing me of wishing to destroy them. I replied that I am not here to harm them. Their sun is dying and will take their world with it. I won't let that happen. I entered the sun and used my power to stabilize it. Adani would later spend time with me and learn about my past. How my powers were jolted into existence when I experienced the death of a friend as a child. Only later she realized that it was not because but despite those experiences that I built a connection with the universe she cannot understand. A connection born from fire and ash. In the meantime, a Xandarian Omega Core intergalactic prison in a black hole. There is trouble as well as the black hole threatens to swallow the station. The Warden Cade suggests they evacuate before the black hole collapses. She addresses the human hero Richard Ryder, also known as Nova, telling him he didn't wake up from a coma just to die with these prisoners. However, the young hero is adamant in not leaving the prisoners behind to die. He orders Cade to prepare the transport ships. And then what? She demands, warning him those are some of the most dangerous prisoners in the galaxy and they don't have an auxiliary prison to take them to after. Suddenly, the station gets shaken badly. They flail around, alarms go off, and unfortunately, some holding cells are opened. Among them, Morg, former Herald of Galactus. He immediately attacks Nova, who headbutts Morg and blasts him, overpowering him. Does he still want to transport the prisoners? Cade asks. He does, but he sees her point. They could use some backup. Meditating in space, I telepathically called my husband, Scott Summers, currently at the X-Men's new HQ, the factory. I tell him how the people were afraid of me. He corrects that they were afraid of the Phoenix. I am the Phoenix, I pointed out. Scott explains that they only know about the corruptive power of the Phoenix Force and probably only through stories. I sigh. I knew this wasn't going to be easy, but I still wasn't prepared for how it would feel. Trying to save a planet of people who are more afraid of me than the sun about to explode. He marvels at what I did. I absorbed the sun's excess energy to lengthen its lifespan. I explained. You're amazing. He marvels. I smiled. His heart rate just spiked. After a while, he states that we never really talked about a timeline. I don't know how long I will stay in space. I just know I need to be here. To change the subject, I thanked him for what he did with the ship. Abashed, he states, I don't need a ship as a cosmic being. I needed a reminder of him, I replied as I fly to the ship, and this is exactly what it is. I am interrupted by a distress signal. I tell Scott I have to go, and we say goodbye. On the station, a panicked blue inmate shouts that they're going to let them die. They can't do this! He shouts. He doesn't have a life sentence. He doesn't want to die. And prays to the Magus. A moment later, a threatening being kicks him, announcing he doesn't need a god. Not that one anyway. The blue being recognizes him as Perrikus and asks him for help. A moment later, energy spikes disrupt the force field holding them in their cells. The blue man believes his prayers freed him and wants to make his way to the launch bay. Perrikus then grabs the blue man by his neck and kills him easily and goes in his stead. Elsewhere on the station, Morg is back to beating up Nova. When he goes for the killing strike, he finds he cannot move. How? He wonders. Thanks to my timely arrival and my telekinesis. Wreck time's over, Morg, I declared, as I knocked him backwards. As I make my way towards him, Morg starts whimpering. I then used my telekinetic powers to seal Morg with some scrap metals. Nova is glad I got his psychic message. He wants to get me up to speed, but I quickly made it clear I am aware of the issue. The black hole is destabilizing, and they are trying to get hundreds of the most dangerous criminals off station. He adds that some cells broke open. The guards are trying to contain the prisoners, but he has no idea how transport is going to be possible now. I tell him there is no need. I will stabilize the black hole. Nova wonders if that's even possible. To which I replied, I just absorbed a sun. So how much harder can it be? I tell him to keep everyone safe and yell if something happens. In the launch bay, Perrikus throws a guard out of an escape pod, which he intends to use himself. As a consolation before he leaves, he adds that death by black hole happens quickly. In the meantime, I am dancing with the black hole, making it play by my rules and stabilizing it. Nova sends me a psychic warning about a prisoner escaped. I see the ship, Nova, I responded. I wanted to stop the pod, but then sees that the prison has destabilized and is about to explode. I chose to save the prison, letting Perrikus escape unaware of the consequences. Perrikus' ship crash lands on the world of Adani's people. They gather around the crater. When Perrikus steps out of the ship, the people run in a panic. But Adani stays. Perrikus kneels and addresses her. After assuring she speaks his language, he wants to ask her a question. Her father runs toward them, knife drawn. Perrikus notes his fear, and that they are adherents to the Universal Church of Truth. They are peaceful followers of the one true. He corrects Perrikus and demands his identity. Perrikus smirks and tells him they are in luck. He was sent in answer to their prayers. To free them from what they fear most, Adani's father asks him to leave. Perrikus continues, saying he knows what he dreads. It sits like a weight on his heart. Be free. He tells him, grabs his knife and stabs the man in front of the girl. Perrikus brought death to Adani's home, but as she later learned, I pointed the way.